we must realize something about God that Abraham realized. That God is not so capricious or fickle to merely say, be happy in this life with me, but beyond this there is nothing. That would make God a God not worth worshipping. Just be happy now. No. Doesn't fit in with his character. Knowing God, finding joy in him, being satisfied in him, friends, only gets better. Abraham knew it. He knew the inheritance of those who are in God by faith is not something temporal or changing. It's not transient as like something like a piece of dirt and a piece of land. He knew as he lived by being satisfied in God that living in a tent wasn't a problem because he had God. For he knew that this life is not it. For God, who is eternal, who lives in an eternal home, bids his people to come and dwell with him for all eternity. God, who is eternal, who has an eternal home, bids his people, his children, to come and dwell with him in all eternity. Back to verse 1 of chapter 11, to have faith in the unseen. He offers us that one day the faith that we have, taking him at the word of his promise, will become sight. And God will take us, his people, to where he dwells. An eternal, immovable, unfading, undecaying place. Where those who live there will live there eternally, immovably, without sickness, sin, suffering, sorrow, nor death. This is what he's promises. We find it in the closing verses of our Bible in Revelation chapter 21. Bear with me. Let's go to where we are. Revelation 21, verses 3 to 5. And he, that is God, will wipe away every tear, I will change the there to yours, from your eyes. And death shall be no more, neither shall there be mourning or crying or pain, for the former things have passed away. And he who is seated on the throne said, behold, I am making all things new. Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true. Verse 6, and he said to me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. To the thirsty I will give from the spring of life without payment. Friends, are you thirsty to be satisfied this morning? God says, come to me and I will pour in abundance, and you need to pay nothing. It's paid for. In the life of Christ upon the cross, the one who conquers will have this heritage, this inheritance, and I will be his God, and he will be my son. Look at the promise. Look at the relationship that God offers in him. You see, some of you thinking, well, I just want to get to heaven when I die then. Friends, heaven's not the goal. God is. For it's God's presence that makes heaven what it is, makes it a place full of joy. For in his presence there is fullness of joy, pleasures at his right hand. And the goal of Abraham's faith, to live in a city that has foundations, whose architect and builder is God, is the goal of your faith and mine. We will inherit all that is God's. Because if we get God, God is the goal, what we become is sons and daughters by grace. God becomes our Father. Jesus becomes our big brother. The relationship is profound. John 17:23b. It's a verse that I quote more times than I care to remember. I in them and you in me, that they may become perfectly one. Here we are. So that the world may know that you sent me and love them. Talking about his people. That you love them as you loved me. Breathe that in a minute, friends. God has just said, Jesus said, I'm praying, God, that they will know that you love them as you love me, the eternal Son. That's life-changing. So loved by God that he loves me like he loves the Son. And he loves you like he loves the Son. And if you're unsure, maybe we've just taken it out of context. Let's go to the end of verse 26. and I will continually make it known that the love with you at which you have loved me may be in them and I in them. The love which the Father has for the Son, he comes to his children by grace and says, I love you on the very same terms. Friends, that's mind-blowing. There's nothing in this world that can compare, nothing that can satisfy. 1 John 3:1 says this, for we are the children of God. It's not some kind of clever word or theological statement. No, we are loved by God himself, getting what Jesus, the second member of the Trinity, has, an eternal reciprocal relationship with the first and third members of the Trinity through a relationship with the second member. We have it all, dwelling together in joy for all time and all eternity. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the preaching this morning. It's our prayer that it has blessed you, that it has caused your heart to delight more in the Lord as you've come to know him and understand him deeper through the preaching of the word. Whilst watching preaching online is a blessing, it shouldn't replace the gathering of the local church. And so we'd encourage you, if you're local to us, to join us on Sunday mornings at 10:15 at 27A Morley Road in Pokesdown. And if you don't live local to us, then find a faithful, biblical, local church where the pastor loves Jesus and points you to Christ and his gospel. If you would like to donate to the work here, where we minister into the local community and to the people who gather here on a Sunday morning, you can do that by giving via the link at the bottom of this screen. And either way, we just pray God's richest blessing on you.